Yoon-ju, a woman with a photographic memory, boards a bus with a man in her sight. As she closely observes him, James, a professional criminal known for his intelligence and successful heists with his team, collides with her. However, Yoon-ju is so focused on her target that she doesn't notice James. When the bus reaches a station, the man exits, and Yoon-ju follows him as he walks down the street, talking on the phone. As she continues to observe him in a restaurant, she gets caught. The man introduces himself as Chief Detective Hwang, who specializes in surveillance to gather information on criminals and frauds. To Yoon-ju's surprise, the chief was testing her skills as part of her job interview. While Yoon-ju is being tested, James is preparing an explosion to distract authorities and make way for his team's bank heist. He waits for the perfect moment, with the sun rising to reflect on the CCTV cameras, and sets off the explosion. The mission hits a rough patch when one of the robbers gets greedy, but they manage to complete the heist and escape with the help of a truck driver who creates a diversion. At the restaurant, Chief Hwang asks Yoon-ju on everything she observed during her intelligence operation. With her remarkable photographic memory, Yoon-ju recites every detail from the moment she boarded the bus to the restaurant, stopping only when the chief inquires about the newspaper he was holding. Yoon-ju finds herself stuck when trying to recall what happened to the newspaper after the chief dropped it. However, with encouragement from Chief Hwang, she closes her eyes and concentrates, replaying the scene in her mind. To their mutual surprise, Yoon-ju remembers seeing a young boy sitting nearby who picked up the newspaper and took it with him. The chief is thoroughly impressed with Yoon-ju's exceptional memory and immediately hires her for his division. Later that evening, the robbers are dividing their dirty money when James unexpectedly arrives. With a vicious streak, he takes down the greedy man who nearly jeopardized their plan, burning the van they used to cover their tracks from the police. After grabbing his share, James sets off to meet his boss. At the division, the news of the flawless execution of the robbery reaches Chief Hwang. He orders a search of all nearby CCTV footage, but the robbers' masked identities make it impossible to identify them. Meanwhile, James receives his next mission to steal important files from an accounting corporation. Chief Hwang and his team finally find a clue when they spot the truck driver at a corner store near the bank and gather his information. On her first day on the job, Yoon-ju arrives at the division and is introduced to her department head, Lee. All team members are given animal code names, and while Yoon-ju wants a distinguished reindeer, Chief Hwang assigns her the name Piglet. After the briefing, the surveillance team, made up of code names Sloth, Monkey, Mole, Viper, Parrot, Ostrich, and Squirrel, goes undercover to track down the truck driver, nicknamed Hippo. Chief Hwang has a bird's-eye view of Seoul's different regions from a van, thanks to his use of alternating small-scale maps, allowing him to always keep track of his officers' locations. As everyday citizens, the team members carry out their designated responsibilities. Chief Hwang, constantly on the go in his fully equipped vehicle, oversees his officers' performance and makes sure everything is running smoothly. James is meticulously planning his next mission in his apartment, to steal sensitive financial files from a top accounting firm. He's known for his signature style of staying removed from the action and relying on mathematical precision to plan everything from various rooftop observations. Meanwhile, Chief Hwang and his team scour the city streets in search of their target, Hippo. Despite their efforts, James and his crew manage to successfully carry out their second mission. But as James packs up on a rooftop, he spots a man taking pictures of him and in fear of being caught, he quickly descends to the building and takes the man out with a knife. Department head Lee receives a call from her superior regarding the recent accounting firm heist. Displeased with Chief Hwang's lack of progress, she harshly criticizes him for not even cracking the first case, let alone the second one. While on an undercover operation, Officer Yoon-ju comes across a group of men harassing a struggling family for their money. As a law enforcement officer, she cannot stand by and watch the violence unfold. She steps in and fights off two of the attackers before being overpowered by a third. Thankfully, Chief Hwang arrives just in time to save her. Later, he scolds Yoon-ju for breaking protocol as a surveillance officer and explains that they must only track targets, not directly intervene in a case. James decides he's done with his current line of work and refuses to take on any more assignments from his boss. But his boss sends a hitman to eliminate James, who manages to defend himself. James then storms into his boss's office, grabs the files for his next mission, and declares that it will be his last. In the following scene, James is in his apartment answering a phone call and arranging for a passport to leave the country. At the same time, Yoon-ju discovers at her office that they've been misdirecting their search for Hippo and alerts Chief Hwang. The officers go undercover to track down Hippo and Yoon-ju spots him but is momentarily distracted by a nearby shop and chaos. Nevertheless, she catches up with Hippo in an adjacent apartment. Chief Hwang tasks Squirrel with installing hidden cameras outside Hippo's apartment, which Squirrel accomplishes. James then embarks on his next mission to infiltrate a stock exchange server room and plant software, as directed by a mysterious broker. He obtains the stock exchange's IP address and informs his right-hand man, Chief Hwang. The officers keep watch over Hippo's behavior, waiting for any breakthroughs in the bank robbery investigation. Department head Lee alerts the chief to investigate the photographer's murder scene, where they discover James was the killer. James murdered the photographer who had accidentally uncovered his second mission. James is revealed to be the leader who observes his team from a rooftop. One night, Yoon-ju and the chief search through Hippo's garbage and find torn pieces of a puzzling Sudoku game. After analyzing the computers, the officers find the numbers to be the IP address for the stock exchange. The next day, they follow Hippo and uncover his accomplices. Squirrel captures their identities and their communications, except for James, the leader. With the help of their communication devices, Lee and the others team members back at the office track down James's location. Chief Hwang and Yoon-ju quickly pursue him. James flees to a building rooftop as his crew prepares for a heist at the stock exchange. However, upon arrival, he realizes Chief Hwang's officers are waiting to arrest them. James calls off the mission and makes a desperate escape. He smashes a window with a fire extinguisher and jumps out, evading the officer's grasp. Meanwhile, James's crew is engaged in a shootout with the police and several members meet their fate either through death or arrest. Department head Lee and her team locate James's phone and inform Chief Hwang and Yoon-ju. The two give chase but are unable to catch a glimpse of James. Yoon-ju finally gets close to James as he sprints through an alley, but James quickly realizes that she's an undercover officer and takes off. Squirrel approaches James and requests his ID, but James quickly realizes that he's an undercover agent and kills him silently with a sharp pen. A heartbroken Yoon-ju seeks help, but in the process loses track of James. At the hospital, Chief Hwang and Yoon-ju wait outside the emergency room and receive the devastating news that Squirrel has died from severe blood loss. Meanwhile, James is berated by his boss for his failures and incompetence. In a fit of rage, James attacks his boss's hideout, killing him and his guards. He then procures a fake passport and plans his escape from South Korea. Chief Hwang and Yoon-ju are heartbroken over the loss of their colleague and the chief decides to resign. Yoon-ju takes time off, but while doing laundry, she suddenly recalls a chance encounter with James from the past, the day she had her police interview. James briefly bumped into her, carrying a grocery store brochure. With this newfound memory, Yoon-ju rushes to the grocery store and spots James again. She quickly informs Chief Hwang and his officers, who follow James into a restaurant. Inside, James confronts Yoon-ju for tailing him, but she remains composed while secretly texting the chief. As James questions her, he notices Chief Hwang entering the restaurant. Recognizing the chief from a previous encounter, James leaves Yoon-ju and goes to the parking lot. Chief Hwang takes over the chase, but James stabs him and escapes. Yoon-ju arrives at the scene and is ordered by the chief to continue the pursuit into the subway tunnels. This time, James notices Yoon-ju and holds her hostage. The department head calls in a SWAT team to assist, and when they arrive, James releases Yoon-ju and flees deeper into the tunnels. James and Hwang face off in a critical moment. James is killed by a shot from Hwang as a train passes by. In the aftermath of this tragedy, Chief Hwang decides to stay on the job and not resign. The officers gather to pay their respects at Squirrel's funeral. What are your thoughts on this movie? Share your opinions with us in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, show your support by hitting the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more movie reviews and recaps. Until next time.